Hey, Desert Mountain and LA. Gonna do some quick recognition. We're gonna jump into things. It's getting a little bit later in the day. I'm like sandwiched between calls here. Just want to drop this, share this video. It's been fun hearing the conversations. It's also kind of neat to have an extra conversation tool when we're talking. Someone's like, hey, on the video, this and on that. So glad you're enjoying it. Please text, call, let me know what else you'd like to hear on here. This is literally, it's for the team, right? This is best version media. This is us trying to be the best versions, not trying, we are being the best versions of ourselves. So there's something to think about language, right? There's this between trying and doing. So anyway, some quick recognition. We're going to have more of this when we meet in person next week as well. If you're in Desert Mountain, we will be doing some Zoom items. I've actually never streamed or Zoomed a division meeting before. So if you're in Desert Mountain, please, thanks for your patience, working on some of those things. A little bit newer for me, used to doing things in person, but I want to talk about just two quick things. One is the difference between wanting and doing something, and then wanting and doing it great. What do I mean by that? So one of my nephews, I talk about them here and there. I love these guys. They live with me. It's our wolf pack, and they're just super good kids. And one of them wants to be a pro fighter, right? And recently had his first fight. And this idea of let's just think about wanting to be a publisher, right? And many or most of you are publishers. Some of you are working towards baseline, but I like to think about things a little bit differently sometimes, right? The smallest detail can have the biggest impact. The smallest detail can have the biggest impact. What does that mean? Well, what's the difference between a publisher and being a great publisher, right? In fact, I was talking to one of you today. I was talking to someone earlier, and they said, oh, instead of saying I'm good, they're like, I'm saying great, I'm great. And it just feels different. It feels better, right? So this isn't the thing that makes or breaks anybody. I don't think the difference between, just saying I'm a publisher versus I'm a great publisher in a sense, right? And I'm not saying we should all walk around puffing our chest going, I'm a great publisher. Knowing is very strong as well. But I frame that because as we're on a quest each day to put out the best publication we can, to generate the best income possible for ourselves, for our families, for, maybe we're doing social, we have social causes we donate to. I know that Mary Beth Kenneth, I worked with her in the heartland in the Texas area. And that's one of the biggest things that fuels and drives her is the bigger she builds her business, the more she can give to some of the things she's very passionate about. And that's the stage of life that she is in. So whatever that fuel is, right? So I guess I'll just really kind of pose this idea to you and ask you, what does it mean to be great? We heard PJ this morning on the conference call talk about winning the day. We know what winning the day looks like in our business. It's getting 3 S's. It's very plain and simple. It's doing that each day. It's a standard. It's not something that we give out trophies for getting 3 S's. It's something that we all signed up for, right? I still remember my first interview back in 2015. Hey, the main thing about being a publisher is setting 3 appointments with business owners each and every day. Is that something that's doable for you, or something that you believe you can do? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's the main thing every day. Just that one thing, 100%. I'm sure you all felt the same way and still feel the same way or know the same way, no matter what's going on in life. That's the thing. So what does it mean to be a great publisher to you? Rhetorical question. Feel free to leave it in the comments. I know some of you started using the comments recently, or maybe a little more shy about it. No worries. I love the text as well, however you want to communicate on it. But what does it mean to you to be a great publisher? Like, what does that look like for you? How many clients, page count? Speaking about greater content for the community, what's your page count? What's an ideal page count? How long would it take to get there? One of you that I spoke with on Friday, you've made 2 sales. I'm not using names because I like to ask for permission a little bit more, but that person, we talked about page count and they had like a 1-year plan. I'm like, hey, I actually, I really think that's something you can do in, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then, we talked about it a little bit and discussed it, and broke down the number of clients. They have a sale Friday and another one today. So kudos to you, moving towards that higher page count very swiftly. Those are the kind of things that can happen. I was just talking to Mike Smith. We know in the West region, if you have 3 sales in a day, that you get a day named after you too, right? So that's pretty cool. So I hope everybody that sees this video has at least one day named after them, because it's a lot different waking up and going, man, I hope I make a sale today, versus I'm making a sale in every single appointment I walk into, right? I'm making 3 sales today. That's the kind of mentality that helps have a 2, 3, or more sale day and or week, right? So we need that kind of thinking, that great thinking. Last part, and then I'm out, are conference calls. Conference calls. I love this topic. Someone just said, hey, let me ask you this. Why should I be on conference calls? Like, man, it's a really good question. So me 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, probably had this big, long reason for why to be on conference calls. Now to me, it's very, very simple. There's layers to this answer, but the simple answer is all the data. If you put a sheet on the left and you put conference call attendance on it, and then you put number of sales, you would see it's not even that it's just correlated, that they're like similar on a graph. It's like right here or here, however the graph is going, right? It's the number of conference calls is super related, is right there with the number of sales that people make. I will tell you, you may have heard, every once in a while a publisher goes, I've been doing this for 7 years or 8 years. I'm not always on the conference calls. And they say, but I've fallen off a couple of times. And when I noticed that, the number one thing I did was get back on the conference calls, right? Why is that? There's something about the language. Our language is either very, okay, now I'm doing the long explanation. I said I wouldn't, but thoughts were rolling. So we're going to roll with this. You can see I had a little espresso after lunch. Maybe that's what's going on here. So there's something that happens to our words and our language. When we're really dialed into something, we're focused, and our words show that, right? They showcase that. They're tight. You walk into a sales meeting. Maybe you realize this on days when you've done 4 or 5 appointments, or you have that week where you've done 15 first. You do it back-to-back weeks, and you feel the momentum and you feel the focus. So there's something about absorbing the mindset and the vocabulary of success. What's great, what's happening on conference calls. Plus, there's a little bit of learning, right? There's some inspiration, there's some learning, but it's really just staying plugged in. It's like, I don't know, I won't even get started on the electric car conversation. They've got to charge that thing. We've got to charge ourselves to really stay on top of this business in a very strong way. So there you go. Conference calls, more conference calls equals more sales. Obviously, we hear the things on there that we know are working great, and really excited to be, we're 6-7 weeks into this year, and it's pretty awesome. We have all kinds of great things happening in the divisions. Our renewals are higher than they have, I don't know if ever been, I don't want to say ever, but a lot of good stuff happening. So excited to get together in person with you next week, share some of that success, bring your magazines. Everyone's invited, by the way. So even if you have a friend that is interested in being a publisher, or someone that just let me know so we can put them on the list and make sure that there's food and everything for them. But yeah, let's have a lot of fun next week at these meetings. Talk to you soon.